And welcome to another trial run of Taste of Power, the alpha version. Now, before we go into the mod, it's important to note that there are two factions that are sort of based on Europe and Asia in a Starcraft-like game. There'll be more units added on later, but these are the basics. So Atlantis is for Europe, as that is an Atlantean legend, so you normally associate it with Europe. The team is a indie team currently based in Ukraine, so that is another thing to note as well. So first we have the Goliath. Spanish gun, as you can see, they all have codes, so heavy shooter, light infantry, heavy infantry. If we hover over it, it will show you. So we have shooter light, I believe this is called. So basically your archers. Sorry, that was a bit too quick even for me. Heavy shooters, as you can see. Kind of be helpful if that was hovering over above, but whatever. Light cavalry, heavy cavalry, and heavy cavalry shooter heavy. So the Goliath is Spanish. Obviously, anyone who knows their history knows the Hawks are just an anagram for Polish hussars. Welsh longbowmen, surprisingly. Be careful with their hoods. This game is in very, very early alpha. So you can see their names. Settlers are a unit that you can build and they repair stuff, but there are some settlers you can't command. We'll see that in game. These troopers here are based off the heavy Drazina of the Rus, and I think they're later peers, but they're pretty damn awesome. Very good against light infantry. These are the Brigante, which are sort of like Streltsky without the musket, but with the axe. So pretty effective, and Cossacks, who are like pew pew pew, like cav. They do have swords as well, and I don't know if they have their pistols working yet or not. So the Ustra are Asia. So first they have the artillery unit, the Avengers, which are very powerful, and you'll see why. The Hunters are Mongolian archers, although they strike me more as a Japanese warrior monk type of look, but that's just me. Of course we have the Ashigaru, if anyone's played Shogun 2. You can see their stats down here. And settlers are pretty much just terrible, we should never be in combat type of gig. But the Imperials are like professional Chinese guard. As you can see, they have a glaive, they're very good against heavy cav. These are the Corsairs. They do alright. They're very weak against heavy infantry, as you can see. And the Hurricanes do quite well. So unlike Atlantis, we only have light infantry in this game. But we have heavy spearmen, which Atlantis lacks because both of their units are light. So when I was testing this new patch, definitely not playing it seriously, as you can see. This explains everything it is. So, let's get started and I can explain on the way in. Hopefully there's time this time round. Okay, there isn't time this time round. So first things first, we have some shortcuts. And your civs will come out of these houses. Now, from what I've learned, you can assign jobs. So we're going to a few of them there. There's always going to be one that you're not going to be able to command. And then we'll start building our little army. So last time I checked, we want a few bull warriors, 2 Imperial infantry, and the Hurricanes to deal with that heavy cavalry. Next, we want to build stuff. To build houses with more of these workers. And mills, just give you a general buff over population. I know you want overpopulation, well now you have it. So I'm just manually clicking, that's somewhat easier for me at the moment. Looks like there's blood stains from my test patch here, so just try and ignore them to the best of your ability. As you can see, the infantry is going to start rolling out soon. Interestingly enough, it looks like only one worker does the work. So that's something interesting. So naturally your civilians will just go about doing jobs inside the city. And if you're wondering why I'm building my army so quickly, it's sort of like StarCraft 2, this game, or what it's aiming to be. So rushing your opponents is always a good idea. And plus the AI's beating me on economy every time. Every time. So that is a thing. So I can cancel this Imperial Heavy Infantry. They train actually inside the buildings. So I'm going to order all these guys just over here. We have a very singular force, so to say. So there should be, yep, there is another. So because we are really dire straits for commerce, as you can see, these guys will actively go out and do tasks. So we have these guys who are sort of making wheat into silk. As you can see, we have people hammering these iron ore. So look how vigorously he hammers. And yeah, now we have another guy cheering, and then they just make it into weapons. Pretty cool, right?
Not enough commerce. Not enough commerce.
So our attack force is coming along. I'll probably be microing this force whilst our economy builds up, because it takes a while for everything to get into gear. You're always going to have one worker to spare.
Undersky's ready.
Okay, so they just instantly knew that we were building calves, so they have arrows. Spears and arrows. Just great. So our heavy calves going to be nearly pointless against these, because these Strautsky wield massive two-handed axes.
Undersky's ready.
But hopefully we should be able to just
Hurricane fall.
attack these rear buildings. As you can see, the Google Translate voice, not necessarily the best thing they could have gotten, but it will do for testing. As you can see, the archers will now start shooting into these Strautsky, and they'll pull out these two-handed massive death swords. So that is a thing. There's some basic collision mechanics at the moment, so that's always nice as well. And considering the assault on this side is going so well, I'm quite confident in just building more houses here. As you can see, our hurricane just legitimately tore through, and we're already aiming for their first barracks. However, that cannot mean we can get sloppy on our own. We're going to recruit some Ashigaru, and then some more bowmen. So as you can see, our heavy infantry will just go into these buildings and start smashing up stuff. So these guys aren't necessarily great for killing buildings, but once they set on fire, they can move on to the next. Interesting. So it sounds like more of our infantry's done. Complete the building of those, despite the resource loss. Uh-oh. Good thing I built these guys, huh? It's almost as if I predicted the AI would do that. Although, they're quite kindly letting us just take out this village for them. So that's nice. So, if that side gets cleaned up and we still have our armed forces there, it's quite nice. It's quite nice. We're doing pretty bad on commerce, and I think that's just, like, I can't actually in this version tell you what units cost what resources, so I'm just really having a guess. If you guys figure that out, please tell me. So yeah, we're just destroying this town for them. That's always nice. And we should probably build more houses on this side. Aye, another 2 houses and then a mill. Yeah,
House completed.
nice mill. Nice mill. Ah, now they have some heavy cavalry. That's always nice to see.
Hunter ready.
Undersky's ready.
Sometimes it will not move. You actually need to click on a bit that you can see. Yeah, there's a thing. So it looks like our assault on this side has gone quite well, actually. So the AI is just pouring in its resources to one side. Neat. Quite a few buildings going on here. We're just going to build a barracks and an engineering bay. Actually, yes, they have implemented that. So you can build 4 buildings on this side. Neat. Well, I kind of don't want to advance with this force, but at the same time, we kind of need to be aggressive. So I'll order this force to go around. It would be help if the archers could, you know, shoot. Thankfully, these valiant men will pull out their massive swords and just, aye, They won't do amazingly great.
Undersky's ready.
Will be completed. Will be completed.
Yeah. I can also see that that my recon force over there has just told me that they're moving in even more of the buggers. Why am I kidding? Light infantry won't do against Urgazina. So we might as well just save our resources. And these guys weren't meant to engage like that.
For the Emperor. Accepted.
Oh wait, you also have to manually tell them to stop using their bows? Oh. And why are you doing it? Pull back.
Accepted. Target for
Hunter ready.
As you can see, the AI is now just straining out resources from the top.
Hunter
accepted.
Actually, this is rather beneficial for us.
Accepted. Accepted.
Because now our archers can just really just shoot in.
Target.
Undersky's ready.
Hunter
Accepted.
Hunter
Accepted.
Avenger ready.
The last one's so Strautsky. Oh yeah, they do have their interesting. Their combination of light cav and heavy cav. Neo Burrito.
Accepted.
And those archers are still causing us havoc. Ugh.
Undersky's ready. Undersky's ready.
I'm gonna send a force over there just to build up. Looks like everything's coming along fine on this side though. Lost civs that aren't being put to work though. Well, to be honest with you, I feel more yep, now they're just gonna get overwhelmed. Yeah, when you don't micro your forces, even in the base version, you can see that the AI's just got a large advantage over you.
Will be complete.
Undersky's
Will be complete.
So,
Undersky's
we're gonna fortify this bridge.
Hurricane ready.
Thankfully, our Hurricane Heavy Cavalry showed up.
Undersky's
So we're going to be preparing a nice reserve force.
Ford completed.
Good. Everything on that side is coming along at a good pace, good pace. Yep, and as I expected, they've sent over their
Hunter ready.
horde. Pathfinding in this game is pretty buggy,
Hunter ready.
but as you can see, your archers will do their job. They will occasionally use their bows and try and lend in as much supporting fire as possible. And our archers will make kind of short work, especially with heavy spearmen just holding the line for us. They don't move that fast, but they'll do the job.
Completed.
So we can train even more of this Ashigaru crap just to throw at them. And you can see the buildings on this side are coming along rather swimmingly well.
Construction.
You also have a limited number of places.
Construction.
Ah! Aye, that's the Aventura. That's a Goliath now shooting. So it looks like we're going to have to go on the defensive on this side. Thankfully, I just happened to build a few military recruitment places. Uh-oh, we need those carts up there now. Pronto.
Avenger ready.
That Goliath has some pretty damn good reload time.
Avenger ready.
And our heavy infantry, whilst they may be excessively great, isn't as great as our noisy, ear-wrecking artillery.
We will turn them into ashes.
Looks like they are overwhelmed on this side at long last, huh?
Will be completed. For the
Well, I suppose when you send that many archers to one location.
Hunter ready.
Accepted.
I say that and I build a ton of this.
Ford completed.
So, you don't really want to depend on large armies in this game.
Tiger ready.
For the Emperor.
Because what they're aiming for is an experience like Starcraft.
Will for the Emperor.
Avenger ready.
Against so few forces, you guys should know. No? Yeah, I suppose that's true, to be fair of an artillery crew. No. Hurry up. Build some of this. Workers will quite happily get to work. Don't mind them. They're not serving on the front lines, God help them. Looks like we can build a...
Ready.
Looks like the houses here have met with a certain growth, so... 2 houses and a mill.
Undersky's ready.
Will be complete.
I'm gonna send a scouting party over there.
Avenger ready. Tiger.
Will be completed.
Apparently...
Undersky's ready.
Ah yeah, this is our light infantry. It won't do amazingly great can almost guarantee you that. Is there... yeah, there's a stockpile of men ready to go up here.
Materials ready.
Will be completed.
It looks like that the AI has mostly concentrated its forces down here. And if I'm not mistaken, heavy infantry should beat light infantry.
Else completed. Hunter
Accepted.
I mean, let's not pay attention to the battle over there. I want to test my theory.
Hunter
Can light infantry take on one unit of heavy infantry? Might be a bit more of an equal battle. Yeah,
ready.
they're slaughtering them. Yeah,
Hunter ready. Completed.
heavy cavalry's trying to do its job, but cavalry can't attack buildings, sadly enough. Although, thankfully, because now we know about that one weakness in their flank, we can really just stand down the army.
Completed.
But as you can see, the holding force on this side
Avenger
has met the enemy herd.
Move. We will turn.
So we're having to use a very dirty scheming tactic here
Avenger ready.
of
We will turn them.
blast them to
We
smithereens.
will turn them into ashes.
Hunter ready.
The Goliath does one shot. That's our artillery. Okay, does that mean yep? So as you can see, you can get quite a thriving economy, especially when you're not concentrating on your workers. It's like simply going back and forth is the matter.
Undersky's
And
ready.
quite a large force has been sent, so we can deprive our enemy of even more resources. Most likely, they're just gathered up on this side. Controls in this game are a bit clunky, but this is like early alpha. Like it's a two-man team or something that developing it is in the middle of Ukraine. So to be fair, they're doing this in their free time.
Completed.
So I'd say this is a pretty good start for a free time game, you know? They haven't started up a Patreon or a GoFundMe, but they do have a Facebook page, so that's always something to look out for.
Accepted.
I mean, if you're interested into the StarCraft games, then I think this might be a good pick for you.
Avenger ready.
If you can sustain the, of course, excessively loud.
Materials ready.
That Drazina infantry though is just too strong. Ooh. That was an artillery shot.
We will turn them into ashes. Undersky's ready.
So apparently our heavy glaive infantry does well. Counter artillery fire does literally nothing. And it looks like they have sent down reinforcements. Thankfully our warrior, or literally just... aye, our cavalry's doing well. We need more reinforcements for that side though soon. Thankfully you can just train up a lot of Ashigaru. And you can see I'm just throwing away forces at this point. Fighting on this side is particularly hard,
Avenger ready.
for whatever reason.
We will turn them into
Avenger
move forward. We will turn them into ashes.
Just when you're zoomed out like that, it's fine, but when you hover directly over it, you can really hear it.
We will turn them into
I don't like how close they are. So, as you can see, your men will try and win. But when your men don't win, just use rocket artillery. See? So much easier.
Will be completed.
Hunter ready.
So, yeah, I can just essentially keep throwing artillery. But considering frontline facilities are done on that side, I mean, this side has been quite underdeveloped because it was sacrificed during the early stages of the war. Where's the worker team at? Apparently they don't have a team of workers. Weird. I thought their workers just regen from buildings, but apparently not. So we can right click and tell them to go off working on buildings to something else.
Honor is everything for us.
Undersky's
And as you can see, they're sending in light cavalry on that side. Which is actually kind of a good thing for us, because now that means we can just walk up into their base and end this. Yeah. It's either that it was really slow because there was one guy left out of the whole unit. Oh, Oh wait, hold on. It just might take time to regen. I must test this. They probably do, because that unit is getting refleshed. You guys just hold that bridge.
Imperials ready.
Sadly enough, our most adept attacking force is being sent up here. Oh yeah, so somehow, as you can see, very buggy, they'll try and turn this wheat into actual good stuff. So as you can see, this man brings it along, his wheat to this Louvre. He should have stopped there.
House completed.
Oh, no, now he's going back. So now he's just going to cheer for a bit. Then he's going to get the work. And if it wasn't for this like massive death stack approaching him, he'd make some pretty fine damn velvet, you know that? Like, look at him, he's just completely oblivious to it. Like, oh, don't mind me. And now our forces will just go in and kill everyone that ever lived. So as you can see now, I can just really start throwing resources at the enemy.
No places for construction. House completed.
So now I can just build like 2 barracks. Really?
Undersky's ready.
It won't be long though till the AI, like as you can see, they've already begun their assault on this side.
The Emperor will be completed. To the Emperor.
So it's going to be a pretty heavy battle. Our forces are probably going to lose. But I can drag in more reinforcements.
Completed.
Like I have the resource advantage here. I literally don't have to worry about resources. As you can see, there's no fortifications in this game, and our Ashigaru infantry, despite being warriors from Japan, are absolutely terrible at killing people. But getting themselves killed is their specialty.
Avenger
No, bad.
Avenger ready.
Move forward.
This is what happens when you don't micro your stuff.
Forward. We will turn. Move forward. Undersky's ready.
As you can see, the AI can train its units rather well.
Be complete.
Imperial Avenger ready.
But this game's not exactly up for public testing yet. As you can see, there's still a lot of bugs here.
We will turn.
Like, it may be done with the Unity engine, which, to be fair, is a pretty good engine. Did they just wipe out our force on the bridge? Yes, they did.
Undersky
Will be completed.
So thankfully, we just have a massive pool of workers just happily working here. So we're going to tell this force to move down south.
Undersky's
I'm
ready.
going to tell them to meet up with that force. We probably just have the resources to throw away at this point, to be fair.
Undersky's ready.
Will be completed.
Sometimes it won't move, and you can't use the minimap either.
Undersky's ready. Undersky's ready.
As you can see, our archers are using their bows. Sadly enough, they are
City are
amazingly effective at range. But they just insist upon using their melee weapons. Sadly enough, we got the Drazina and that entering the city. These guys are being dumb and chasing after one horseman. But thankfully I can order a few hundred archers out of here. So they, oh yeah, I didn't show you this, they can actually train in the building. Don't know how they're training though, because they're just shooting up into the air. Well, now we have just one renegade horseman just running about the place.
hurricane ready.
To the Emperor.
Our main advantage against their Drazina, the only unit that I found so far that works against them, is either our artillery or the Hurricane Cavalry, which is sort of like mounted cavalry when you think about it.
Imperial
Forward.
To the Emperor.
Forward.
Put them on stand guard and they'll stop attacking.
Avenger ready.
To the Emperor.
Imperials ready.
Like as you can see, they're bugged out with this one civ that they can't attack. And they kinda are destroying our artillery. Despite the Imperial Guard putting up a good fight.
Undersky's ready.
Oh, and don't worry, we just have more men to throw. So these men will naturally prioritize targets
Forward to the victory.
that aren't them. And the results down here could be better.
Hunter
Accepted.
Like, we have sent
Undersky.
oh no.
Hunter ready.
Oh thank god, it's not doing that thing again. Sometimes it'll just randomly crash out, to be fair.
Undersky's
And I don't know why.
Will be completed. Will be completed.
So we've nearly destroyed the enemy's main camp. It's, I'd say it's going pretty well. Nearly all the enemies destroyed. We just have our archers obliterating any light cav, but now the Drazina's coming up. So, it won't be too long till they start bringing heavy infantry. As you can see, just the amount of archers we have, it just leathers them. Especially with a massive two-handed sword. Oh, that was a good dodge. Oh, he's dead. Friendly fire. As you can see though, our cavalry is going to start to show up to assist. Sadly enough, they do, when you do order them to attack, they seem insistent upon the idea of killing themselves via use of their sword. Just, you know, don't expect this trooper or tiger infantry or whatever they're called to do their job when on that type of stance. What we want to do is deprive the enemy of resources at this point. As you can see, their archer infantry is kind of bummed out. Ow. Our cavalry on this side has mostly cleaned up the enemy by the looks of things, so good on them, guys. Good on yous. Looks like our waves of reinforcements kind of stopped halfway. Oh, now they have Drazina. Let's see if this can be done. So here's a cavalry charge. Not too great. And these are sort of like spearmen would just wreck cavalry normally. If it were not for the fact that this cavalry has archer support, which apparently kills spearmen.
Imperials red. Tiger
Will be completed.
As you can see, we're just really cleaning up the enemy now.
Hunter
A few warrior monks fighting with this hovering civilian.
Accepted.
house destroyed.
There we go. We have won. Da, 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 da. So I hope you enjoyed this preview of Taste of Power. Sorry that it took ages. We should be ending around about the 28-minute mark, so let me just return to menu. It will load out rather nicely, and voila, we are done. So I hope you enjoyed this preview to Taste of Power. If you want me to do an Atlantis video, please put it up. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and all that jazz, and I will see you next time.